Okay, and welcome to this video. This is a continuation of I painted the background, and now I'm back painting the loose tulips in acrylic paint. And these tulips are just sort of from my imagination, so I'm going to just kind of sketch some shapes out. So we'll just kind of, I don't have a reference photo. I just sort of, I've painted so many kind of loose tulip paintings throughout the years that I just kind of wing it sometimes. So I'll have, I'll put like a bit of a vase here. And this color I'm using is this transparent burnt sienna by Liquitex. Just kind of thought it's a nice warm color, so just sort of sketch in the vase here. And this is a 14 by 14 inch canvas, so the kind of the bottom gets cut off a little bit because this is as much as I can get my camera to fit, but that's not the vase is not the most important part. Let's see if I can get there we go. So just sort of sketching a vase shape. I really want this painting to be sort of loose and sort of more, whimsical. So I'll start by I want to have the tulips like not the way you buy them in the grocery store, sort of more falling down and sort of loose. So I'm going to kind of put in some of those shapes right away, some of them falling down and, kind of going up. And I like using this transparent color because, if you wanted to change anything, you really can at this stage. It's just sort of a lot better than if I had like a bunch of white on there to draw my flowers, then I'm kind of committed, but this is sort of blends in with the background even. So just kind of putting in some of those tulipy shapes. And if you're following along and you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and don't forget to share it with a friend. And I have all these full-length lessons on Patreon, so this is one of the largest paintings. I usually do 12 by 12 or smaller, but this is sort of one of the larger ones I've done, just to show you that I start and set up everything sort of the same way. So I'm just sort of, now that I've got the flowers sort of around, I can sort of look at, placing some of the stems and everything, and I'll even use this color just to block in. And I'm just using this larger brush. I could switch to, if you want to switch to like a smaller brush to draw stems because it's easier for you, feel free. Like I could use this is, I don't know what this is. It's just it would be like a 4, but you can put in some stem marks like that. Just sort of warming up here. But these are my favorite paintings, kind of where, you're just sort of sketching almost. So I'll put in a few of those tulipy type leaves. And I like to have them going off the edge of the canvas too. So this painting is very loose. I want it to look loose. I'm not looking for it to be, correct as far as like exact drawing or anything. I'm really just looking for that decorative feel, and something you could just, kind of look at, drift off to sleep, or look at while you're drinking a coffee and not really think too hard about it. So I kind of feel like that's a good start. I like that overall composition. And now I'm going to start to work on kind of adding in some darker values so that when I paint the tulips, they'll really show up. So I'm going to mix some of this white and some sap, some of that raw sienna. Just sort of mix up a nice warm white for the inside of the flower. Just kind of mix a few different colors in with white, and you'll pretty much get gray every time. So you just kind of test it out and see on your canvas if you like it. I kind of like that. That'll work. So I'm just going to put a bit of that in. Maybe I need to warm it up, so I'll add a little Indian yellow, some of them. So if you just add a little sap or raw sienna, and get some of that nice warm. And even though it's loose, I'm still kind of getting those kind of tulip brush strokes in there. Get some more of that. So I mixed that time a little sap and a little bit of raw sienna and the burnt umber. You get that nice warm gray. Alright, so I'm going to start by those are kind of the dark insides of the tulips. So I'm going to now go and just sort of get some more color going around them. So I want to get a little bit of this sap and maybe a little bit of this Paynes gray just to darken it some more. And just add I'm just going to kind of go around and put in some of the darker elements just to make it so that when I add the white, there'll be some nice contrast. Just put just a few notes of dark green in there. And start the leaves off by blocking in some of that. Want that leaf to come up just a little bit more. This is just some sap green I'm using here. A little bit of that Paynes gray, just to darken it. Because later we're going to add some lighter greens to the mix, so later we'll add different greens to the mix. Right now we're just sort of blocking in some of the darker marks I'm making for the green, because then we can easily pick out some nice leaf, colors later and just add it on top. But I like to start with kind of just the basic, like where everything's going first. Just to make those flowers really pop. And I kind of mess that up a little, just to purposely kind of mess it up a little, just so that the stems are, they're going to be a lot looser in the water there, so. All right, so once I get the green in, next I'm going to think about some of the other colors I want in the background. So I'm going to just sort of keep it in mind. I kind of think I want to go with some nice neutral colors, so I'll play around with it a little in the beginning just to see, kind of add some of this cobalt to that mixture. I'll put a little bit of that in the vase just to kind of show some of that blue. I like to put in the vases. Gives it a kind of a watery look. And I like to leave the underpaint, some of that that transparent burnt sienna coming through, just because I like that, those hits of really nice warm color. And we're aiming for loose here, so don't worry if you don't get it just right. And put a little bit of that blue kind of in the background up here, just to have it somewhere else. Kind of like an abstract. Kind of like to really make sure I leave some messy brush strokes. I don't want anything to be too constrained. Beauty is with this acrylic paint is it dries so quick. I can always just paint right over it if I don't. Pretty much dries up and I can just paint right over it 5 minutes later here. So now you can start to see, like, you know, there's something kind of building there. I'm gonna go and start adding some color to the tulips now. So I'm just gonna get a little bit bigger brush. It's hard to know what size I should use. Maybe this one here. This is a 3/4 inch wash brush, so we'll start with that. I'm going to use a little white and kind of mix it into that gray color I mixed up. Just giving my paint a squirt. And I'll add a little dot of that cad yellow in there, just to give it a little bit of a more lively color. Tiny bit of sap. Give it more of that natural coloring of white. And then I'll start with this one here and sort of just place a few kind of tulip kind of strokes in there. So I'm just pushing my brush down and kind of drawing it down to the base of the tulip. Sort of sketching in tulipy shapes here. Trying to keep it as loose as I can. And just change your whites up so you get different kinds of white and different kinds of green. So I always like to change it up a little. So I added a little bit of that Indian yellow into that mix. It really makes it look more of that lime green. Over here, this flower here, I want to be more kind of in the background, so I'll go with a more bluey, use a little Viridian, or just use some sap with a little cobalt blue, just to sort of doodle that one in a bit. And you can add more white. So you can see I'm just sort of mixing as I go. Really want these ones back here to stay loose, so I don't want to do too much to draw too much detail in there. Adding a bit more of that cobalt blue and green gray kind of white color in there. Notice I'm kind of doing different colors of white, different shades of real light. I'm going to warm this one up in the front here, so I added a little bit of that warmer. Got to keep track of all these colors. The transparent burnt sienna, I added more of that in there into this one, just so it's a little warmer. As you can see, this is very fun. You can kind of just play around with all the colors mixing, and what I like about it is the messiness of it is what I like about it, so it's so tempting to want to you know, fix it up and make it look really neat and tidy, because I think it's just comes naturally. But I'm just kind of, you know, going around here and adding more and more to each one. And I'm going to add some lighter white, but I'm going to add a little, let's try some Indian yellow in the white just to see how that goes. And add some lighter petals. Or add a little dab of that cad yellow light to it and see. Now this is, oopsies, I dropped my brush right in there. So if you do that and you don't like the mark you make with acrylic, you can just go and really clean your brush and then go in with some water, and you can kind of lift off the paint like that. I don't know if it'll matter much, but I'm going to add a little more yellow to this front one here. So now I'm going to, before I go around too much on the white flowers, I'm going to go and add some highlights to my green leaves. So just get a little bit of sap and a little bit of that cad yellow light, and you're into your white mix there. And you can do the same thing. You know, you want to keep it loose, so put a little bit of that lighter green on there, and then make a little puddle of, you know, a cobalt with sap mix, so you have a like kind of a more blue green. So the bluey green color could go more on these petals here that are more off in the to the side, you know, and some of the This is something, you know, it's kind of out of the box a little, you know, you just got to kind of play with it, the color more, because it's like I'm purposely trying to, you know, keep it messy and loose. So sometimes that's harder than, you know, doing something that's more that you're used to painting, and it feels like you're making a mistake. But I think, you know, over time you just, you know, you can try it, and if you like it, it becomes sort of your own style. And then it's sort of, I think you begin to just really experiment with different things in color and have fun with your painting. So I really enjoy this style. Just adding some color to those stems in the water there. Okay, so there's a little more on the green side of things. So now I think I'll work on, I'm gonna put in some neutral colors for the background. But first I want to get a little more of this down there, because I want that warmth to show through more when I paint. So I'm going to put a little bit of that transparent burnt sienna back in there. Really want that to shine through. Just adds a lot of life to the color. I even have this color I put out that's the rose gold. I thought was kind of fun to play with. This one here, it's really got a lot of shine in it, and I thought, if you're doing a decorative painting, why not throw some of that in there? Here and there too, and just see what happens. I just had to try it. Okay, so I think for part one, this is a really good start, and I'm going to work on part two and get the rest of this video up for you next week. But I hope that you try this out and share it with your friends. And if you want to paint the next half, join my Patreon channel for as low as $10 a month. You get access to loads of tutorials and paint animals, flowers, birds, seasonal, Christmas, Easter paintings, spring paintings, kind of everything. Been working at this for a while now, so I hope you enjoy, and happy painting.